Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a different type of video. I'm going to look back at the year 1969. In fact, this week, 1969. Back in those days, I was 12 years old. I was still a fan of the top 40, really a geeky kind of kid that liked statistics and listened to the radio a lot and kept track of what was in what place on the weekly top 20 or 30 or whatever it was back then. So I researched it a little bit and I pulled the top 30 from this week, ending in July 19th, 1969, just to reminisce about the charts in those days, what the music I was listening to. I'm going to include a Spotify playlist here with all 30 of the songs I'm going to talk about, just a brief little thumbnail sketch of each tune and what I remember about it, whether I even remember it at all. There's one song in the 30 that I have no clue of to this day. Anyway, some of the current events. Chappaquiddick happened. Senator Ted Kennedy from Massachusetts, returning from a party on the 18th of July, mistakenly drove into the Chappaquiddick River, and his secretary or a family friend, Mary Jo Kopechne, died in that. He swam to shore, charged with reckless driving and abandoning a vehicle, and I don't even think he produced a license, but he got a 2-year suspended sentence for that. And also, the man on the moon happened on the was it the 19th or 20th? The 20th of July, 1969. Neil Armstrong walked on the moon for the first time. So some historic events. Let's get into the music. Just going to run down these top 30 in reverse order. Number 30, James Brown, called The Popcorn. It kind of peaked at 30. I never really followed James Brown that much. A little bit too much funk for me, especially when you're 12 years old. You don't dig on that kind of music. Number 29, Grazing in the Grass by the Friends of Distinction. The Friends of Distinction were a low-grade version of the Fifth Dimension, let's say. Women, men in the group. It was their biggest hit. It was on the chart for 13 weeks. It made it up to number 3. A pleasant tune with lyrics. The year before, Hugh Masekela did an instrumental version of Grazing in the Grass, which was a big hit. And this is adding lyrics to it. Very poppy. Number 28, Israelites by Desmond Decker and the Aces. This is kind of a reggae one-hit wonder. The guy was from Jamaica, Desmond Decker, and this song would eventually reach number 9. Number 9. It was a top 10 hit. It was 28 on This Week in 1969. Number 27 is a one-hit wonder again. It's called Good Old Rock and Roll by Cat Mother and the All Night Newsboys. A medley of oldies done in a rock and roll style. Sweet Little 16s on here, Long Tall Sally, Chantilly Lace, a blending of all these songs, whole lot of shaking going on. I remember distinctly listening to this on a jukebox while we were having an Italian meal somewhere at some point. It was on the jukebox. I remember this song. And believe it or not, the single, Good Old Rock and Roll, and the first album by Cat Mother were produced by Jimi Hendrix, of all people. Number 26 was My Pledge of Love by the Joe Jeffrey Group. A real catchy R&B pop song, one-hit wonder. And this guy was out of Cleveland, Ohio, disappeared from the face of the earth, never to be heard from again. The Joe Jeffrey Group, My Pledge of Love. Check that out on the Spotify list. It's a real good song. Number 25 is by Jerry Butler. It's called Moody Woman. Jerry Butler was called the Iceman. That was his nickname for that smooth delivery. It was a follow-up hit to his big 1968 song, Only the Strong Survive. Number 24, everybody knows this song, Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. It's his signature song, would eventually reach number 4 later in the year. Became a Boston Red Sox anthem. They play it at Red Sox games. The crowd goes nuts. Real crowd pleaser. Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. Number 23, the Isley Brothers, I Turned You On. I have no recollection of this song whatsoever. I don't even know how it goes. If you want to hear it, it's in the Spotify playlist below. Number 22, I Can Sing a Rainbow by the Dells. The Dells were a R&B soul group, a Hall of Fame group out of Chicago. Let Me, number 21 by Paul Revere and the Raiders. Paul Revere and the Raiders had a string of 10 top 20 hits. This was the last of them in 1969. They wore those Revolutionary War costumes and outfits when they performed. They were on American Bandstand quite a bit. Eventually they dropped the Paul Revere and they became the Raiders, and they had a song in the early 70s called Indian Reservation, which was a big hit as well. Number 20, Quentin's Theme. This is from the TV show, the soap opera Dark Shadows. An instrumental. Quentin Collins was a werewolf in the show, and a lot of kids my age were running home from school watching that back in the day. Number 19, Kenny Rogers in the first edition, Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town. This was a big hit, made it all the way to number 6. Of course, Kenny Rogers later had a big solo career, collaborated with Dolly Parton and Kim Carnes and various other female performers. Made a couple movies as well, The Gambler and that type of thing. But Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town was a hit for Kenny Rogers back in 1969. Number 18, Black Pearl by Sonny Charles and the Checkmates. More soul music, produced by Phil Spector. Number 17, Elvis Presley, In the Ghetto, written by Mac Davis. It's his first top 10 hit here. Elvis, in 4 years, he had a bit of a lull, came back to popularity with that 68 special, and in 69 he had In the Ghetto, and a month later, or 2 months later actually, it would be Suspicious Minds, one of his bigger songs. Number 16, we've got the Beatles, Get Back. This is the single version, Billy Preston on this as well. The album version, of course, would come the following year on Let It Be, was the closing track. Get Back, a great vocal by Paul. Lead guitar here, I believe it's John Lennon on lead guitar. Real good song. Number 15, Too Busy Thinking About My Baby by Marvin Gaye. This was one of 14 top 10 hits by Marvin Gaye. As a solo artist, he had 4 more in a duet with Tammy Terrell. Marvin Gaye gets taken for granted, but he's one of the mega Motown artists, one of the all-time greats, and unfortunately was gunned down at a relatively early age. Number 14 is a pop hit by Andy Kim, a Canadian artist, called Baby I Love You. This is a cover version of the 1963 Ronettes hit. Again, produced, co-written by Phil Spector. Phil was getting his thumbprint on some stuff into the late 60s as well. Number 13, Tom Jones, Love Me Tonight. Of course, Tom Jones, a sex symbol at the time, a Welsh singer, soulful voice, covered pop, R&B, soul, gospel. Real strong voice. He had a TV variety series called This Is Tom Jones, which premiered in 69 and ran through 1971. I remember watching it, and had 65 episodes. So it was a popular show. Number 12, Mother Popcorn, more James Brown, another funk hit by the Godfather of Soul. A lot of these James Brown songs are really indistinguishable to me. They played to a different audience than myself, and they did well. They sold a lot of records, so that's what I have to say about James. He made his mark, and one of the all-time greats. Number 11, CCR's Bad Moon Rising. Famous song. The B-side was Lodi, which is an equally great song. Of course, John Fogerty uses the weather imagery in this Bad Moon Rising to signify impending doom. Made it to number 2 eventually later in the year. They had 5 number 2 songs, never had a number 1 hit. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Now we're breaking into the top 10. Number 10 is the love theme from Romeo and Juliet, which was from the year the movie from the year before. Franco Zeffirelli directed the young teenage tragedy. Henry Mancini did the music for it, became a hit, also known as A Time for Us. I think Johnny Mathis did the vocal version later in the year, but this is the instrumental by Henry Mancini. Easy listening kind of pop tune. The love theme from Romeo and Juliet. Number 9 is a Stevie Wonder classic, a beautiful song, My Cherie Amour, one of his best. Number 8, The Ballad of John and Yoko by the Beatles, again released as a non-album single. The B-side was Old Brown Shoe, and this chronicles the events surrounding the wedding of John and Yoko. It was banned on a lot of radio stations, including New York, Chicago. I don't remember it being played in Philadelphia, where I'm from, but it somehow made it to number 8 nationally. And it later appears on Beatle albums, Beatle anthologies like Past Masters, and the famous Blue album from 1967 to 70. They put it on there as well. And the key line is, "The way things are going, they're going to crucify me." Classic John Lennon. Number 7 is "Color Him Father" by the Winstons, another one-hit wonder, a soul R&B band. It's a boy's love for his stepfather. Why don't we color him father? It's a nice song. I remember it. Came on a purple label as a single. I remember that as well. Number 6, Three Dog Nights. One is the loneliest number. Three Dog Night were a massively successful LA pop rock group. 3 main lead singers, Corey Wells, Chuck Negron, and Danny Hutton. They all took turns on various hits being the lead vocalist. This is their first hit. It was written by Harry Nilsson. They had 21 top 40 hits and 11 top 10 hits, including one. Number 5, another Motown song by Junior Walker and the All-Stars, "What Does It Take to Win Your Love?" A Motown classic. The Funk Brothers are on this. Junior Walker on the tenor sax. Beautiful song. Smooth. A nice vibe. Love it. Number 4, Tommy James and the Shondells, "Crystal Blue Persuasion," sort of a psychedelic pop masterpiece. Tommy James and the Shondells were a virtual hit machine. Everything they touched seemed like it made it up the charts. Number 3, "Good Morning Starshine" by Oliver. This was a smash hit from the musical Hair. And coincidentally, Hair was the number 1 album for 13 weeks during the summer of 1969, including this week here. The Broadway cast version or recording of Hair. 13 weeks at number 1. It was massive all over, and this came from that particular play, the rock musical. Number 2, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, "Spinning Wheel." Again, they were huge in 1969. David Clayton Thomas was the lead vocalist. Lots of horns, a jazzy kind of pop. It was a big hit, and this was the height of their success in 1969. And number 1 is another one-hit wonder, Zager and Evans, "In the Year 2525." It was 6 weeks at number 1, a true one-hit wonder. Psychedelic folk, I would call it. Kind of a doomsday vibe going on in the year 2525, if man is still alive. Here we are, 2024, 55 years later. And the song's very memorable to me as a 12-year-old kid. So I just wanted to do something a little different today and reminisce about 1969, 55 years ago. Be sure to like, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments. Do you remember these songs? Are they blocked out? Maybe if you're not as old as me, some of these are new to you, but check out the Spotify list below and play the ones you're not familiar with, or reminisce about the ones that you do like and remember fondly. Thank you very much. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.